Hey everybody, this is Talkative Carl back again for another Halloween movie spoiler review. And today I'll be covering the 1995 movie Casper. Yeah, it's fun to revisit this movie because it's been many years since I've seen this, and as a kid, because I know I rented this at Blockbuster. That's how long ago this has been. Uh, uh, I remember watching reruns of the old cartoons, kind of like it didn't have much like repeats on cable like something like Scooby-Doo has. As a matter of fact, I think Scooby-Doo had like more of the air of staying power because it's like a mystery of the episode kind of thing and more to build off of. Hell, they even like had tons of comics and all the movies and the merchandise. And Casper, he's I think you'll still recognize him, and you can argue to still be maybe he had like a plushie or two, but I don't know, his popularity kind of like waned. He's like he's not on top of mind everybody, but it's just I argue Casper could do for a revitalization. If you want to like remake anything, I think, because I'm not a huge support of remakes, but it has to make sense. Like it has to be unlike Disney, like with remaking Beauty and the Beast or something like that, where it's like it's already a classic hit. Something like Casper, who was a hit, but there hasn't been like a market for it for such a long time. Because I am a firm believer that if you want to remake anything, remake something that was terrible in the past, and now that we know better, it's kind of like the Super Mario situation. It's like the live action Super Mario movie back in the 90s was terrible, but it wasn't necessarily a remake, but you decided after so many years do a Mario movie, a proper one with better visuals, make it animated, better writers behind it, and put your best foot forward. And the IP has to have some popularity behind it. Casper is still fairly if you bring hey, we're remaking Casper, and have I'm pretty sure there's people in the studios in Hollywood still remember Casper, and there's the charm of that character. It's just like the good nature of that character. You is happy to see Casper, the friendly ghost. And Casper makes you feel good when you see him. And so it's bring back all those old Casper cartoons and put into Hulu or Disney Plus. I don't know who owns Casper at this point, but put it back on the stream market. And it's hey, we're Casper, we're got it on Hulu. We can watch all the old Casper cartoons. Really market the hell out of this property. Bring out Casper plushies and everything like that. Really sell it and get some some none of that hacky way of getting oh, let's get The Rock involved in this. No, do something akin to Hocus Pocus 2, where you don't have to the only superstars should be the three main witches. Everybody else should be fresh out the gate actors. And that's what you so kind of sort of should do with Casper. Get like a new maybe voice actor for the character, like a young teen. Uh, get some fresh uh actors. You don't rely on just the A-list star power just to try to sell this thing. Just get some good writers behind it and proper marketing, and you can probably make some good bank on this. uh I argue, but anyway, uh this movie was directed by Brad uh Silberling. It stars Christina Ricci as Kat Harvey, Bill Pullman as Dr. James Harvey. We got uh Malachi Pearson, who voiced Casper. And did you know Casper's last name is McFadden? Uh, I think I knew that, but you always forget it because you just call him. It's like Cher. You just call him Casper. And what a ironically cool name for a person to be named, and that person turned into a ghost that also fits. Uh, we got Kathy Moriarty, hell of a last name, uh, playing Catherine Kerrigan Crittenden. Is this like straight up like a bad guy name? Uh, you got Eric Idle as Dibbs, her attorney. Then we got the ghostly trio: Joe Nepoti as Stretch, Brad Garrett as Fatso, and Joe Oleski as Stinky. And of course, you have some few, I say, not relying too much on A-list celebrities to try to sell this movie, but there's quite a few guest appearances, cameos. Uh, like Dan Aykroyd as Ray Stantz from Ghostbusters, Don Novello as Father Guido Sarducci, Clint Eastwood, Terry Murphy, Fred Rogers was archive footage, Mel Gibson, Rodney Dangerfield, John Kaser as the voice of the Crypt Keeper, and Brock Winkless for the puppeteering of the Crypt Keeper. And just so you know, because I had to look it up, because I know I looked it up a long time ago, but I completely forgot about it. Because as a kid, I always wanted to know, like, how did Casper become, like, how did he die, and how did Ghostly Trio die? Well, Casper was a young child who died of pneumonia when he was playing outside. Uh, you know, it was getting kind of late, and he caught the pneumonia and died. Stretch had this kind of disease or something like that. How did the Ghostly Trio die? Because Fatso had iron deficiency. Stinky, I think he had scurvy, something like that. Okay. Uh, uh, yeah. Um, I'm trying to find it. And where did it go? It was just giving me an answer. Crap. Stupid Bing. It was just giving me an answer and all of a sudden it stopped. Uh, sorry, that's all right. I don't know because I did look this up the other day and now I can't freaking find it. But it was Stretch has some kind of like bone not deficiency, but it's like you know something to do with his bones is kind of like weak or something like this. Give him like lanky appearance as a ghostly form, something like that. Fatso had iron deficiency, and Stinky, I think it was scurvy. Anyway, uh, so you meet uh more was it Kathy? I was about to call Moriarty. Kathy, yeah. Uh, Moriarty and Dibs, who was going over Kathy's late father's will, and not sure why no other family members are around. She and him were the only ones. Kind of weird, but uh, the father just left her a house, this mansion where the ghosts are haunting, and nothing else. Everything else he left to various charities of a father. But upon looking at, when they're trying to burn like a page from the will, there's some invisible ink about some kind of secret treasure. It seems kind of like idiotic. Why would you, if you don't intend to have, maybe he knew his daughter was an ass. So if that was the case, why would you leave an invisible ink for a possibility of somebody figuring that out about some kind of treasure? But if you don't intend to leave her much else beyond just the house, why put that invisible ink there in the first place? But they end up going there, find out it's haunted, then get all these various, icons, to who normally deals with the supernatural stuff to try to deal with it. But because of Ghostly Trio is just like, Looney Tune level of, typical ghosts, they can't just be stopped by what they typically, these other characters would typically have, stop. Matter of fact, you bring in like one of the Ghostbusters, but why not all of them? Because one dealing with one dealing with a house full of ghosts by themselves seems kind of, idiotic. But I don't know, because you can never tell like what movie's gonna be like an cult classic or anything like that. You usually find out till much later. During shooting, I imagine that Dan Aykroyd was just there for a quick paycheck. So he did his little iconic line, "Who you gonna call?" And then, it's like somebody else, and and just ran off screen. Never seen him again. And then one novella who, come as this kind of novello, come as this, priest who walks out with his head turned backwards. I know it's a kid movie, but it's like, I don't know. It just seems like, okay, dead. He should be dead. And clearly, you can die here and then clearly turn into a ghost, emphasizing legit death if something comes to lethal harm. You twisting somebody's head backwards like that, he should automatically be dead, or at the very least have him just walk out and just not say nothing, just like, stick to the drive tone and just like leave, or at the very least have his ghost walk out looking like he does and just like, yep, not gonna be able to do it, and then go, or something like that. It just seems like, I guess, like I said, it's Looney Tunes level of, it's just, as long as it's kind of like Roger Rabbit kind of logic. I mean, as long as it feeds into the comedy, you can do anything. So Casper, who is in desperate need of friends, he possessed Kathy's TV at the motel about this ghost therapist, and so she gets Harvey, who brings his daughter along to Friendship, Maine, which I looked it up, is an actual place. I thought it was some kind of stupid gimmick, like some kind of Hallmark movie uh type of goofy name like Christmas Town or Novelville, kind of crap. No, Friendship, Maine is a legit place. My God. So, because as Casper was flipping through the channels, he knows about Dr. Harvey and he sees his daughter, and he immediately got like a crush. But I think it's more so just needing a friend. His friends is just as you start for, because Casper tends to be, for lack of a better word, in an abusive relationship with his uncles. To not, I mean, it just depends on the scenario, because all intents and purposes they treat him bad, partly because he's not like them. He's got a gentle soul and tends to be gullible, kind of thing, or like naive, and they're like adults and he's kind of a child. So the smaller one tends to be the most picked on one. And you find it charming when it comes to Casper, because it's not like when a need arises, he stands up, because being like brave despite any thing he's getting involved in. But there's a level of charm to Casper where it's like, he doesn't lose that gentle spirit, and he doesn't let the bullying and mocking deter him for his true nature, just being just a good spirit. It's kind of like Captain America. It's like he does not let trials and tribulations dissuade his outlook, and it's not like he's naive. He understands and rationalizes it, but it's just like he's not gonna let it corrupt him. So uh Kat and Dr. Harvey, they drive all the way, because they've been moving a lot, so they pack all their stuff, moved all the way to Maine. And it's kind of typical in the way in these kind of movies, kind of like the first Hocus Pocus movie, where the new kids go to this place, and they're he's moving right on in during close to Halloween. And it's like, I don't have kids, I'm not sure what the proper procedures, but you typically will wait until the end of the school year, or when it's like almost like a month or two before the beginning of the new school year, before you start enrolling your kid. You don't do it. It's like I said, I don't have kids, I don't know what the proper procedure is, but like, I think it wouldn't make any sense, or I'm not sure how allowed it is, to get your kid right, because they're literally like a month or so away before Thanksgiving, then the holiday season rolls around for winter break. So it's like, what's the freaking point? Because they miss a good chunk of school time to, learning certain things, and you gotta play catch up. It seems kind of like irresponsible and not fair to the kid. But anyway, they end up going to the mansion, which kind of feels like a Stephen King setting, because it's literally in Maine. A lot of his movies have their characters in like a Maine type location. So they looking around this place, and Kathy hired the therapist in order to, in a way, do whatever he needs to do to exorcise these ghosts out of the house, so that way they can be able to freely go about the house to uh search for this treasure. Now here's another thing I just thought of. Why are you allowing these people to, because clearly they like moving, like I get it, they need to probably be there around the clock in order to exercise these ghosts, but it looked like they, they shouldn't be like, unpacking like they're gonna stay permanently. It's like, I don't know, it just seems like, okay, you're not gonna stay here for long, you're just here long enough to exercise these things, then I'm gonna kick you out. Now it's like, do they have a place to stay after they supposedly do what they need to do? Anyway, they meet Casper and the gang. Of course, initially they scared out of their freaking minds, but upon the next day, they meet Casper properly. He's making them breakfast. Of course, Casper has these gizmos that, like you see in certain old movies where it's like these contraptions, like this freaking mousetrap board game where the, cause Ed to go down these little things and it cracks it in and spills right into this, frying pan. It's a gimmick that, I'm glad they don't do anymore because it's so dumb and, like, I don't know, it's like, like you had time to set all this up. I don't know. It just seems like, waste of time. But given the fact that Casper's father was an inventor, so it makes sense he has some kind of doohickeys to help with all that stuff. So him and Kat get introduced, as well as the doctor. And of course, Kat goes to school while the doctor spends time trying to figure out what's the ghost's unfinished business is. And that's typical in a lot of ghost films where it's like ghosts tend to linger because they have unfinished business in life they never got the chance to do. So that's what the doctor is trying to like figure out. And of course, these three ghosts are BSing around. They don't care. You never tend to think about that kind of stuff, or they don't care to think about that stuff. They just like hanging out together and just, scaring people for fun and making stupid jokes. And yeah, the jokes are corny as hell. Even for back then, they tend to be corny. This movie still made money, so I can't like say it was like a failure in some aspects. But Kat is at school, and I feel like I was watching Hocus Pocus again, because it's like all these kids are just like, oh, this new kid in town. There's always that one kid that's gotta have some kind of bitter rivalry, about this new kid. And it's like, why? You don't know this kid, why you immediately want to have like a issue. Of course, Casper follows her and start tying up the kids' shoelaces, pranking them. They know that, she tells them that she moved into that old mansion that was supposedly haunted, and they're supposed to be having some kind of like Halloween party. And then Kat offers up her house to host the Halloween party. Like, dude, why? And there was a teacher. The teacher there is there for like a chaperone, of course, but it's just like, you couldn't have it in your effing gymnasium, where you can probably monitor these kids. You don't have like a party at somebody else's house for the entire class for you to chaperone. The whole entire thing seems idiotic, and no teacher would allow that. Sure, I had like a birthday party once and invited a couple of classmates. I didn't have the entire class there. I didn't like every freaking body. I didn't invite the entire class there. Just probably a couple of people that I knew personally that was close by in the neighborhood. And certainly the teachers wasn't there to monitor these things. The whole entire thing is completely stupid. So Kat and Casper gets, establish a friendship. And she asked Casper, like, how do you die? And he couldn't remember. Typically when you turn into a ghost, I guess your memory gets fuzzy. But upon going through his stuff and set up all these, model trains and everything like that, Casper slowly starts to regain his memories about, like in broken pieces, about like, I remember playing outside. I got the sled that my father made for me. I remember my father wanted me to go back inside, but I was having too much fun, so I stayed a little bit longer. But then I got cold. And I remember my father, he was sad. That's it. And the voice actor played it very well, because he still had that that bright charm to it, but he had to downplay it just a little bit. It's like just reminiscing, and reminiscing by via vocal performance. It's like, I was having too much fun. I lost track of time. Then got cold. My father was sad, and he's like, and that's what it taught us in like a voice acting class, where it's like, it's almost like a step ladder when you list certain things, and we go through like cat, dog, fish, and you keep going higher, establishing probably a level of excitement. But in this case, you're going down the ladder, establishing the mood is dropping to emphasize the severity and the sadness. It's like then I got cold, my father got sad, and then I don't remember anything else. That kind of thing. I thought that was pretty good. Well, a little insight into a little taste of like what it is for like voice acting. So they end up finding Casper's dad's hidden laboratory, because he was an inventor. After his son died, he announced to the papers that he invented this machine that supposedly bring the dead back to life. But of course, he was written off as an insane person, and he calls this machine Lazarus. And I guess it kind of makes sense, because we got like in DC Comics the Lazarus Pit that rejuvenates people that's like very old or near death to revitalize the body, and from what I remember, allows you to live like a good 100 years. Once one good dip, you live for a good 100 years before you need another one. But every time you use it, you lose a bit of your sanity. Anyway, and of course, Kathy and Devs and the following, because again, kind of sick and tired of waiting to figure, for him to get these ghosts out of here. So they realize, oh, we can, because this little red potion that gets the machine going. It's like, oh, we can use this and become immortal, and then market this and become rich and everything like that. And they notice, oh, there's a big locked safe. That's where they probably have this entire treasure. But the Halloween party is about to start, so Kathy has to deal with that. But her father is hanging out with the ghostly trio, intending to kill him to make it, because they're hanging out with him. It's like, oh, maybe we should turn this ghostly trio into a quartet. And they got him out of the house in order to hey, like I because in order to they made a deal with him saying like, hey, we knew your because the mom passed away years ago. I was like, oh yeah, we knew your wife Amelia, because that's what the dad is hung up on, because he feel lost in a way. That's why he got in this field, because he felt lost. He felt like maybe if I do, get into this line of work at some point, I will come across her, and maybe she has some unfinished business. Maybe I can help her. Maybe I can, because he misses her, and it's not like he took focus off of raising his daughter, but he's moving around with her a lot, not giving her a stable house, which a stable life, which a child needs, especially at her age. And you're not prioritizing her now, because without the mom, because I'm not a therapist, but I guess when you lose a life partner and now you're left alone raising a child, you tend to feel lost, or you're not complete, because you need the other person to, because you feel like you can't raise a child on your own, because you lack certain qualities that the other person had that was needed in terms of raising like a full healthy adult. So he gets drunk with the ghostly trio, and they end up changing their mind on killing him after he, because I guess he needed like a release. He, because I guess he doesn't even have any friends. Because, I guess a good parallel between Casper, the doctor and his daughter, they, all three of these people needed friends for different reasons. Dad needed friends in order to like just hang with the boys, just to get out of his funk, because in a sense he was in a rut, and just having some kind of party outlet, and have a ghostly trio get him out of his shell. And he, that's something like he probably like wow, like I have not hung out just with the guys in such a long time, because I had to look at the daughter, I had this job, and I got to do all these kind of things, and I needed this release. But he admits like, man, I need this. I'm gonna tell like Miss Moriarty, like, you know what, it's your house, like I was gonna tell her to go kick rocks. And the ghostly trio, more so nuisances than actually malevolent. And it's like, God, we can't kill him now, because now he's let us keep the house, and he actually is a good dude. But then after trying to exit the building, he ends up falling off a cliff and dying and turned to a ghost. And the same thing happened to Kathy when they steal the potion from Casper, and realizing, oh, there's a safe, but we can't get in, we don't know the combination, and nobody alive does. But if we, one of us turns to a ghost, we can just fly through there and walk out with whoever's treasure's there. But she tries to kill Dibs with her car, didn't work. She crashed into a tree, and then it happened to be near a cliff, and as she's trying to leave out the car, she ends up falling to her death and turning to a ghost. And it's like, why is there so many cliffs everywhere? And it didn't make any sense as a kid, and to this day still don't, why in a bar is right outside of a cliff. Is so weird. It's like something that like, you know, Dusk Till Dawn, where like a bar is right near this big uh, 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 this big chasm of a pit. I mean, it's like, why is this here? It makes no sense. Uh, so Kat is upset when she's seeing her. Well, first they dealt with, you know, Dibs uh, and Moriarty, and Dibs tried to betray her. She tosses him out the window. Never see him again. Who knows if he died or not? Probably not. I mean, it's like depending on the impact, he probably at least broke a couple of bones. But knowing this movie, it's probably a cliff nearby, some random where, and he's probably dead. But then after Kat got this locked chest out from the safe and the potion, she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna be rich. I'm gonna have everything." And then of course Casper and Kat trick her into saying that, you know, "Oh, I guess you don't need anything else." Like, no, I don't need anything else. I am completely satisfied. And upon saying that, it's like, oh, now you got what you needed. You have no more unfinished business. So now you go to the afterlife. Knowing her, she probably was sent to hell, which I kind of wish that they, instead of showing us her exploding into like a big light, it emphasizes she, you know, she getting dragged to hell, like in like Patrick Swayze movie Ghost. Which, by the way, now I'm thinking about it, maybe I should put that on the list for next year Halloween movie review. Just a classic movie Ghost. But in that movie, you see like these shadowy creatures dragging ghosts to, you know, because depending on, there's a bright light if you're supposed to go to heaven, and there's shadow creatures that drag to hell if you was a bad person in life. And I kind of wish they kind of show something like that. But I guess it's a kids movie, they can't have too much terrifying stuff. But it's like growing up in the 80s and 90s, in the early 2000s, kids were a lot tougher. So it's like something like Nightmare Before Christmas, or, you know, even like something like Monster House. You're gonna show some kind of, or even like Coraline. You're gonna show some creepy stuff in a kids movie, and kids, you know, can take it. I'm not saying like you need to show them like something like Saw or The Grudge or anything like that, but there's certain levels that kids can watch that they can handle. Matter of fact, I'm gonna put that on the list too: Coraline and Monster House. Anyway, but then after they get rid of all the bad guys, which, matter of fact, now think about it, there's some weird parallels between Kathy and Divs and there's two other people. I keep want to go back to, like, you know, Home Alone. Not those two. There's another female and male duo in like a kids Halloween movie. Crap, I had it on the tip of my tongue and it just escaped me. But these like bungling female male duo in these kind of things. Anyway, but it's just like, you know, wow, it was like a thing in like, especially 90s horror comedies. Anyway, the dad shows up, which, why is it that Casper and his uncles are the only one with like those, you know, stereotypical ghosts look, with like the white pillowy look to them, where somebody like Kathy and Dr. Harvey looks exactly how, you know, in combination of ghostly pillowy look with unique features. Like, he has his glasses, his, you know, cardigan and brown hair, along with the whole pillowy look. And it's like, I get it, you gotta distinguish him, but the uncles nor Casper look the way they look when they were alive. So it doesn't make any sense. Hey, Valve. But not realizing what he is now, he's goofing around, and the daughter obviously is sad, and it's like she reminds him of who he is, and he realized, oh crap, like what the heck is going on. And then so Casper make an ultimate sacrifice because he wants to be back alive so he can be alive with Cat, but try to get her a new lease on life. Which, by the way, now think about it, clearly his father is dead. Why is he? Clearly the father has no finished business. That's why Casper still lingered, because he didn't want to go off to afterlife realizing his father's alone now, but obviously his father is dead. So it's like, why is Casper still here? And clearly the father probably had no finished business, because he was like, his ultimate goal was try to bring his son back to life, which he probably didn't accomplish. Don't know why he never saw his son. Clearly you can, upon choice, the ghosts can turn invisible and visible whenever they want to. So why you didn't show yourself to your father while he was still alive? But then again, now remember, there's newspaper clippings that he was declared insane, so he went to an asylum. So I guess that's why he didn't see him. But clearly he probably would have died. Is he haunting that insane asylum he was put in, or did he just pass on? That was never explained. I guess it's a nitpick, but it's like, clearly, like, he'll have unfinished business and he'll try to fly back to the mansion, but maybe it's too long away, or maybe take it to a whole nother state. I don't know. But Casper ends up sacrificing his chance at a new lease on life by using the potion to bring back, Cat's dad, which, now think about it, it's like he could take this to a scientist. He can repurpose it to get like separate vials, so that way you can bring back the dad and you get a chance to bring back yourself. But I guess you don't want to run the risk of somebody abusing that in any kind of way, I guess. Or maybe you need the entire container for that one person. If you divvy it up, it probably will be less successful. I don't know. But the dad's brought back to life. Cat hosts is hosting the party and everything like that. Then Amelia, Cat's mom, shows up, and I guess in an angelic form. Don't know why she's, I guess it's more of an angel, not so a ghost. But the ghostly trio kept their promise. How you get in contact with somebody who's already passed on when you're still lingering on Earth? You shouldn't have that kind of access or sway or capability, but they do, and they kept their word, and they brought Amelia down to, give Casper a special gift that only lasts for 10 p.m. to have a temporary, lease on life. So you can have like a, one dance and one kiss with Cat, but you still, allow her to float in the dance with her. And it's like, you're alive now temporarily, but you're alive now. You shouldn't have a power to float anymore. And I like this little, more with Casper when Amelia tells him like, you only got this gift till 10 p.m. And he was like, hey, Cinderella get it to midnight. How I get to 10 p.m.? Yeah, that is kind of effed up if you can think about it. It's like, why he only gets to 10 p.m. But then Amelia gets a moment with her husband where she explains to him, like, you gotta, let me go. I never have any unfinished business. You don't have to keep looking for me. I'm happy. I had a happy life with you and a daughter. Very happy years with you too. But now it's time for you guys to live out your life. I'll soon see you, whenever your time will come. So don't worry about me. Like I had a great life. That's a nice little warm moment between the two couple. But 10 o'clock hits. Casper returns back to a ghost, frightens off all the guests. And so the night ends with the father and daughter dancing with Casper and a ghostly trio singing the Casper theme song. And the movie's fine. It's still fine. It has people behind this obviously has some reverence for the character of Casper and his background. So there's a level of charm and eagerness to bring this to light. Certain of the set designs feels very direct to Disney Channel type of movie like Smart House or Hocus Pocus. Not only is it a bad thing, but it's like, I guess, the budget, because they only had like a budget of 55 million at the time, but they raked in at the box office 287 million. So they did very well in that, back then in the 90s. So it's more so, this is a kids movie. It's fun. So yeah, there's a level of fun to this. You definitely show your kids, they'll have a good time. It's, not too scary. But you can have, just a nice night with your kids, fun popcorn movie. And Casper is a very charming character. And I think more so than anything else, you have to get the ghost right. Because, Casper has to be played in a certain type of way, as well as his uncles. Everything else you can be flexible with, but they got to get those guys right. But but the jokes can be very, very corny to unfunny at times. I argue they could lean a little bit more with not gore, but it's like something like Nightmare Before Christmas, a little bit more morbid type of humor. Because I legit think, give kids a little bit more credit of what they can handle in these type of films. You don't need to make it, all gory like it's Saw. I ain't saying that, but you look at other movies like Coraline or Nightmare Before Christmas, you can walk that fine line and walk out, with like something very memorable. But it's a harmless film. But yeah, and it's definitely meant for people for a certain age. But anyway, that was Casper. In a little bit, I'll be covering 2 animated movies: Hellboy, Sword of Storms, and Blood of Iron. The last Hellboy related content I reviewed was some Hellboy comics, which I think I did last year, but it's up on the channel if you're curious about some Hellboy comics that I reviewed. But I haven't done the live action movies yet. I'm probably maybe wait until next year to cover the live action Hellboy movies. But for right now, I want to really watch the animated films. So I will see you guys in a few minutes as I cover that. So let me know what you think of Casper, the Friendly Ghost. Have you seen this movie in recent years? But yeah, if you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe, share this with your friends, and follow me in the links in the description below. And I will see you all later. Take care.